to okay.
We have to make a blooper video. You're like 32.
The author, not our, the author.
It's our author.
It's our author. Just fuck off everybody else. Amo. You know what? On a side note, actually, I hear people pronounce it as Amo, and I'm like concerned that we're saying it wrong.
Okay, so I'm super country, right? And I say ammo. Like
I say ammo.
Guns. But I have heard it pronounced Amo, and when I say Amo, I have to get a whole nother accent just for it to come out like that.
It doesn't sound right.
Going to inform us after this video how to pronounce it.
It was great and all, but that's not how you say my name.
Yeah. He's like, y'all are my what? Loyal followers? I don't think so.
So yeah, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into talking about Amo. Okay, first book. What was the first book that you read by Amo?
Silver Swan.
I did as well. I can't hold one up, but yeah.
So this was like my first dark romance ever. Like I didn't know what to expect from it. I was shook because I was like, what?
Yeah.
Because this is like a dark romance bully, because there's such a huge difference in between bully romances and dark bully romances. Yeah. So, I mean, I had read bully romances. That was nothing. But this book was
something.
It was out of my comfort zone for sure.
Right? Mm-hmm. It started off so normal, and then it was like,
yes, like I'm like, okay, I can. If this is dark romance, I mean, I can do this. But then I was just like, the reason why this book was so different is because she's opening up this whole new world.
Right.
And if you've never read an Amo book, now I'm second guessing how to say her name. She has this like ability to create your world, like what you live in, but also it kind of feels fantasy like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like in Pea-Size Havoc is the same kind of concept, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It started off again so normal, so like every day, you know? And then all of a sudden it was like, and it's just something that you can't even wrap your head around. Like, how creative must someone be to of a world like this, right?
And she's created like this whole island.
Right.
Where the Lost Boys originate from, and you're just like, what?
I know.
I think it's kind of like driving, and you're like, oh, I can see the turn up ahead. So you're driving, and then you get there, and it's the complete opposite way. It's not what you expected it to be.
Yeah.
That's all her books, though.
It is. Every time you read it, you'll read, and it's kind of like human nature to kind of guess how the book's going to end. But Amo is so brilliant at writing that she creates this path that's not obvious, and you think, oh, that's how it's going. I bet I figured it out. And there's like this completely different path that's like so hidden that you'd never expect it to be that, right? It's like dug under 70 layers of concrete. And all of a sudden, you get to the end and you're like, well, fuck me. Didn't see that.
Okay, let's talk about first impressions. What was your Bishop first impression like when he's introduced to the book? What were you thinking?
You know what? I was going through that stage there where I just love bad boys. Like any bad boy came my way, and I was like, yeah, I can marry you right now. Like any guy. I mean, I've come from Kieran, you know, BB Reed, and I'm like there. That's like who I want. And so I see Bishop, and I'm like.
So for me, it's the complete opposite. Like I had to read the first 3 books a couple of times to even like. I don't know if it's because of my first dark romance, but I didn't connect with him right off. I connected with Nate pretty quickly. With Nate, I was like, you know, that is book husband material. With Bishop, it was like, I guess kind of like bitter wine. Like you have to acquire that taste for him.
Right.
You know? And with Brantley, I was like, no. Like I was so terrified of him. I was like, oh my
still
God.
I still am. I'm waiting for Bradley's book and I'm like, again, favorite standalone.
Yes. I read this book like 5 times. I really love this book, and it was a fucking savage.
Yeah. I mean, who
like like he's an asshole, you know, but you like love him anyways. He's like tries, there's like some Stockholm syndrome up in here for a little bit, you know, you go on tour with him, you go to his like background life, and it's just, this whole book makes me pretty much speechless. Like I wrote a review over it, but I think I remember it was so hard to just put into words how much I loved the standalone.
Found the steam in there. I mean,
right, it was like 150.
50,000. I mean, like,
yes.
Even any of her books. I mean, you have to actually like. When we just talking about when I first read her, I read those sex scenes and I was like. So we have the question of the day is when people ask us. I see these messages all the time and I see these comments all the time about when people say, I've never read Amo Jones. What should be my first book? We have different opinions on this. So you say your one and I'll say my one.
So I guess if you've never read dark romance, I wouldn't recommend the Fate duet for sure. The Crown duet. I wouldn't.
Used to.
I would recommend something soft like the West Beach. You know, just if you're coming in from contemporary, like this is, you can flow through. This is pretty contemporary. It's rock stars, and there's a tiny bit of MC in this one. I would start there. Even here.
My thing is, if you find Amo, it's often because you do read dark romance. Especially now, because most of her books are on the darker side. So if you were finding Amo now, I would believe it would be because you're kind of going down a dark path. Not dark path, that thing, but I would say the Elite Kings for me is the best way to get in, because it shows you exactly how Amo is, how she creates worlds, and at the same time it's not overly dark but still dark, if that makes sense.
We're not getting off here until we talk about Midnight Mayhem. Like we can't.
No, we can't. I agree. Midnight Mayhem was insane.
Yes. That's my favorite.
So these are the 2 covers actually, which is quite cool. This is my only Amo Jones book that I have, and I treasure it with my life and soul. So this is the 10th cover, and then that's the is that the original
alternative cover?
Is it the
I think yes, this is the alternative cover, I believe. Yeah, if I remember correctly. And it's the only cover with a clown on it that could ever get me wet. Okay? That's this one's hot, right? Like, look at that face.
I like Killian's more. That's just me. Just show them Killian. I just can't handle it.
This and then this one. Those are the 2.
I didn't love him in the first book even. I mean, he just walked in and I was like, yep, you are my future husband, my man. I mean,
yes. I loved that book so much that I devoured it. Like, listen, I would have devoured it in like less than 24 hours if I wouldn't have like paced myself. But I wanted to. I wanted to eat it like a chocolate bar. Okay, just go for it. But after it finished, like I was crying, and not from like, it was emotions of, oh my God, it's ending. Oh my God, it was so beautiful. Like, and that book really, like, the psychological mind fuck of that book is insane.
Can we just talk about how Amo has the amazing ability to describe things? Every time she wrote something, like, I mean, I don't know, this is not a spoiler, but like, for example, when she dances, it's like you can picture her dancing.
Yes.
It's insane. It's beautiful, and it's like, kind of, if you love dancing and you watch dancing shows, read the book, because it's like watching a movie. It's like watching a show.
I think that's why I connected so well with that book, is because I used to dance. So then to read about that was the first time anyone like to me had ever brought dancing into it. It made it so visual, and I was like, I love it. Easy, because it's like you step through a curtain and then it's like a smoky illusion and you're like someplace completely different. Like you're in these stories for sure. That's
You
what,
are.
like that's why they're my favorite.
Yeah. You're not reading it. You're actually in the pages. You know,
Yes.
that's how I feel. And not even just Midnight Mayhem, any of her books. We're not reading her stories. So don't pick up her book if you want to be somebody that's just reading a book because you have nothing better to do. Because
Become the book.
yeah, the book and you are one.
Exactly. Yeah.
So to end off, we're just gonna tell you guys what we're currently reading. Mira, what are you reading?
I am reading Unrequited by Saffron A. Kent. It is a teacher-student romance. It's an age gap, which I usually don't do those, but
Yeah.
I was in the mood for something a little bit more taboo. Yeah.
Listen in. I'm reading A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. And it's just let's just say we had to put on a lot of makeup to cover up the redness. So if you guys managed to stay the end
Through our
yeah,
train wreck.
This is what we are. We're train wreck. We're Mur and Mel, the train wrecks. Anyway, that's it. Well, guys, we'll see you next week if you decide to come. Tell us your thoughts on Amo. Tell us your thoughts if you're too scared to go in. Be careful though, because Mur and I like to convince people once we hear that.